right, here we go. We are rolling. It is time for another episode of Cash's Top 5. We have a fun one today. I'm joined by fellow Warrior alum Sheldon Day. Sheldon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. And for everybody out there listening, Kash is that guy. He is that guy. Just I don't want anybody to confuse that. He is that guy.
I appreciate that. That's high praise. And that kind of plays into what we're going to be talking about today with our top 5. It's guys that we look up to.
Yeah.
You know, I like we have a good mutual respect. I like to say we're both those guys.
Okay.
What are we ranking today? Our top 5 what?
Top 5 quarterbacks. And I know everybody, you play defense. You don't know about the quarterback position. But, I mean, I do sack them for a living. So, I mean, it's like I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of who's good, who does the job really well. And I'm excited to see yours. I know that you said there's an age difference, but I feel like we're going to have some crossover.
I'd say there's a little bit of an age gap. I'm 07. So not that much older, but it feels like
I can see why you say that.
I see this gray right here going on.
I got some gray now too. You see the hat on. You see the hat is on. I'm trying to hide the gray. You know, football's done some numbers on it. A little stress, but you know, still happy to be playing. Well,
let me ask you this. I can't remember who the player is. In my mind, it's Robert Mathis, but it may not be. Do you have? It's the player who, at Halloween time, all the graveyards for all the quarterbacks he's sacked.
Yeah.
Do you have like a running list of who you've gotten the most and who you haven't gotten but you want to get?
I mean, I don't have that many. I think I'm only got like 7 sacks in my career, which is, I mean, it's a feat for me. I mean, that's not bad. But Myles Garrett is the one you're talking about that did the graveyard and Halloween and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
I was actually on his team when he did that. Thought it was the corniest thing ever, but neither here nor there. But there are some, like Lamar, like just being able to say I sacked Lamar is athletic, doing things like that. Josh Allen, big body. If you can bring him down, it's like you feel stronger about yourself.
Sure.
And then, of course, everybody wants Pat Mahomes. It's like if you get him not under his belt, it's like, all right, yeah, like I said, Pat Mahomes. Like, what did you do with your life? You know, it's like those type of bragging rights are pretty cool. But I mean, I do got Phillip Rivers under my belt. I have Joe Burrow under my belt. So I do have some top quarterbacks under my belt. But it's like,
yeah, man,
how do I get with those mobile quarterbacks? Am I not fast enough? Like, I'm trying to figure that out. Like, do I got to be a little quicker? I've had multiple opportunities to sack Pat, and it's like he kind of just slipped away at the last second. And then Justin Fields. Slipped off of him, unfortunately. He was stronger than I thought. So, little quarterbacks like that has been interesting.
Well, that's how I can tell if somebody really knows their football, because everybody's got an opinion, of course. But when you start talking sack numbers and you're comparing interior lineman versus edge, I'm like, that's apples and oranges, man. People are like, Aaron Donald's not. He only got how many sacks? I'm like, are you serious?
You know how hard that is?
You don't know football.
Yeah.
But let's get into it, man. We're talking quarterbacks. You have kind of a list going on. We're going to kind of feel it as we go.
Yeah.
Let's start with our number 5. Who do you got?
People might hate me for this one, but I absolutely love Drew Brees at number 5. He was short. He did everything that he was supposed to do, led his team to a Super Bowl. Started with the Chargers and then switched to the Saints, and I felt like he got to the Saints and him and Sean Payton just created magic together. And I was a big fan of the big dink and dunk offense, and then run it when you can. They got really creative, and I feel like he's probably my 5.
That's pretty good. He's not technically an Indiana boy. He's from Texas, but played at Purdue. So there's that tie-in. I always enjoyed watching him because he threw a pretty ball. He's one of the most accurate throwers ever.
Yep.
But this would have been your sophomore year when the Saints beat the Colts in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
2010, 2011.
That sounds right, because I remember where I was.
So I will forever and ever hate Drew Brees. He took the other Super Bowl away from me. But respect.
Yeah.
Such a good quarterback.
For sure. And I think he has an interesting story, because I guess he can't lift his shoulder above his head anymore because of his throwing motion and stuff like that.
Oh, that makes, and he had like a torn labrum, and he had all kinds of injuries throughout his career too.
Yeah. So it's like to see him go through all of that stuff and just the tough mentality he had, just a true competitor. I think another reason to give him the top 5 spot for me.
Okay. My number 5 for you. Now, I had a couple in my top 5 that have always been in my top 5.
Okay.
I took them out for personal reasons.
Oh.
I feel like in order to be a part of something, you need to be a good person.
Okay.
Now, obviously, I don't know these guys personally.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to put it out there. We can bleep it if you want. I had Brett Favre in my top 5 growing up. He's the gunslinger.
Yeah.
NFL quarterback club 99 on the N64.
Yeah.
Packers are unstoppable.
Yeah.
Turns out,
yeah. Yeah,
you don't get to stay in my top 5 when you do the things you've done and all the allegations. So we're going to go with a guy that on paper hasn't done anything like that, has stayed out of the news. Seems like an all-around great guy. He played, I think, has the record for most teams he played for. I'm going with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Not one of the greatest of all time, but if we're going favorite and I just enjoy watching him, I like a dude that realizes his role. Yeah. He played on teams with great defenses. He had great players around him. He was never going to be Peyton or Tom or Drew or whatever. Funny on the mic at the podium.
Yes, he was.
He's really supportive of his teammates. He does the translations for his Caucasian followers, for his the minority teammates. He's like, here's what he's actually saying, guys. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I think that's so fun. So Fitzmagic is my number 5.
I would gladly put him in my top 5, but he beat me. So I have a personal vendetta against him. So that's another reason why he can't be on mine. And then I guess he was a gunslinger. Like, I feel like he outlived expectations multiple times. And for him to play, I think 14 plus years or something like that. Yeah.
And like 13 different teams.
He's like the one-hit wonder that he's like the Jeremy Lin of the NFL. And I think that's probably the best comparison you can compare it to.
I think you're right. Because, he got all those one-year deals he was on a prove-it deal for 10 years straight. He did really well. Can he do it again? Yeah. And then no. And the starter got hurt. We got to put Fitzmagic back in. Yeah. He threw for 5 touchdowns. We're going to keep him. So, that's great. Breeze at 5. Who do you have it for?
People might hate me for this one.
You're going to preface all these.
I know.
All the fans are coming after you, so it's okay.
My number 4 is probably Lamar Jackson. Young, up and coming. I feel like people are like, oh, why is he your number 1? But Lamar is my number 4. Great athlete. Becoming a better quarterback. I feel like when he first got into the league, he was trying to figure out who he wanted to be. He's kind of owning his role now, being that dual threat quarterback, run if I want, and then not really trying to build the game around his legs. So as a fan, super excited to watch him and his growth. And then as a player that plays against him, it's like, oh my gosh, like this guy's getting better and better every time I play him. So I think that's why he's my number 4.
It's a great pick. He is a fringe pick. He'd be an honorable mention for me. Didn't quite make it.
Yep.
But I love watching guys that look like they have fun.
Yeah.
You talked, Phillip Rivers was one of the guys you got.
Yeah.
One of my most hated players of all time because he's one of the players, like if he's on your team, you love him.
Exactly.
And you hate him when he's on the other team. And he was on those Chargers teams and I just couldn't stand him. But you talk about love of the game. Lamar is like a kid out there. Yeah. He just enjoys it.
Yep.
It was a little weird because it had never really been done before, at least not on that scale when he represented himself during the contract negotiations.
Yeah. Yep.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And obviously you can speak to that on your podcast, The Players Company.
Yep.
All the stuff that goes in with the money and the agents, the percentages and the contracts. Yeah. It's a lot of your eyes can kind of glaze over. So the fact that he kind of took that on, kept it insular with his family, continued to ball out, by all accounts is a great teammate.
Yeah.
And he's electric. I mean, I love the fact that he was taken last in the first round.
Yeah.
He's number 32, and you had all these guys that they're not Lamar.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree. And then Lamar, just seeing him lead the Ravens to, I guess, AFC Championship and almost there, it seems like he's one player away from being a Super Bowl champion. And I think once he gets it, like all the critics will just be quiet. And I think he has that chip on his shoulder knowing that once he gets that Super Bowl, he can kind of sit back and say, I finally did it. And then he proved everybody wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. All those chirpers.
Yeah. It's like Lamar isn't good enough. All these other things. The guy has proven himself. He's MVP twice. That's the most highest honor you can receive as a player. So he's there. He's almost there. So just give him his flowers while he's still there.
It's kind of like a Peyton Manning situation.
Yeah.
He's like a more mobile Peyton, great in the regular season. They get to the postseason. And, my number 4 for you is my old guy pick. Just because I really enjoyed watching him when I was a kid.
Okay.
Like when I first started watching football, I was a little kid watching with my dad.
Yeah.
It's a pretty standard story. Dan Marino from the Dolphins. He's like the Charles Barkley, really, really good. Didn't quite win the championship. He was there on the brink a couple of times. Made it to the one Super Bowl his second year in the league. Never got back.
Yeah.
But definitely an underappreciated talent. Also one of those. Had he played in this era, Imagine Reggie Miller playing in today's Steph Curry NBA.
Yeah.
Imagine Dan Marino in Patrick Mahomes NFL.
Yeah. I don't think it would be fair.
He could throw it. Yeah. He could throw it a mile. He could put it on a dime. Also, that was back when the Colts and the Dolphins were in the same division, so kind of that hate that Phillip Rivers, like, I can't stand this guy, but damn it, he's a great quarterback.
Yeah. Dan, unfortunately, I feel like if he would have left Miami a little earlier and joined like another team, they would have probably built around him. But I think Miami was just stuck, we have Dan Marino, we're okay. So they didn't really build around him like the way they needed to. But I guess that back in the day, it's just like he couldn't leave in free agency. So this was our quarterback, and he had to kind of just deal with the circumstances.
Well, and it's Miami. There's no state income tax. You're on the beach or something.
Yeah.
I'm staying here. I'm going to work on my tan. You guys figure out who I'm going to throw to, who's going to try to stop the ball.
Yeah.
And shout out Ace Ventura. Super funny in the Ace Ventura movie.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stars in their prime are doing, at least not at that time. Now you see like LeBron will be in a movie, they'll do bit parts, whatever.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that was not the case, and he was like an integral part of the storyline that I always thought was pretty great.
Yeah.
Number 3.
I only chose this guy because he's my former teammate, and I absolutely love how he revived his career. And then my number 3 is Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, I like it. That's a controversial pick. Colin Cowherd hates you right now. Baker, let's talk about him.
What an ultimate competitor. Like, had no regard for his body. All he cared about was winning at the end of the day. And if you're a quarterback, you're judged by your wins and losses. So, he had a bum shoulder when I played with him. He had COVID. He was trying to do everything possible just to play on a Sunday. Didn't take any game reps and played on a Sunday. Of course, he was a loose cannon. You didn't know what Baker you were going to get. You could have all-pro Baker, or you could have this guy didn't deserve to be a first-pick Baker. So it's like the range was really, really crazy when I played with him in Cleveland. But, look at him now. He's over here proving himself, I guess, week after week, why he deserves to be in a conversation about one of the top 10 quarterbacks. So, ultimate competitor, getting better each year, has true weapons, has an offensive coordinator that can help his weaknesses and not be shown. And then when he has to run the ball, he's running over linebackers and safeties. And I'm just like, dude, you're a quarterback. You mess up your shoulder, you're done. Like, what are you doing? So just seeing his competitive nature just come out each and every Sunday, I would say that's my 3.
Okay. Well, you got both the bookends of 2018. You got Baker and you got Lamar. But I don't think we're taking Sam Darnold. We're good.
Oh, yeah, no. He's not on my top 5.
No offense. Enjoy Seattle. No, I love that pick. He seems like one that, again, if he's on your team, you love him as a teammate. He seems like a guy you can rally around and really get you guys like pumped up. Like, you get paid to practice, and Sundays are free. Like, he's like that prototypical like macho guy.
Yeah, old school.
Old school, definitely. Yeah. Which ties into my number 3, very similar, I think, in that he's not so much a quarterback as he's a football player. Ooh. I'm going Andrew Luck with my number 3.
Andrew Luck at number 3. Oh, wow. I'm scared for your top 2 at this point. Like the Dan Marino to now Andrew Luck. I need to hear the Andrew Luck explanation. I know he's played for the Colts, did all of these things, but I gotta hear it. When
I made my picks, I thought about who did I genuinely enjoy watching on Sunday.
Okay.
Who did I enjoy when they stepped back to pass, when they were on a QB sneak and they were, Andrew Luck's the kind to hand the ball off and then go block for his running back.
True.
Not quarterbacks don't really do that. Had we done this draft or this top 5 a few years ago, I might have still been a little sour. The retirement, I was one of the people like, I hate you. What are you doing? And then I'm a little older. You realize he's got a family. Yeah. He's got much more interests and outside of football. And not that other players don't, but the way it went for him is the way it went. And there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But when I think about just the pure joy I had in watching him on Sunday, and never knew what you're going to get. He's going to throw picks, but he's also going to throw for 40 touchdowns in a season. There will always be an element of what if. There will always be an element of that. But, of course, playing for the Colts, had he done this for the Jets or if he had done this for the Broncos, I don't know that I would have cared as much.
Yeah, exactly.
But the fact that I got to watch him, he was here. It was a baton handoff. It was Peyton to Curtis Painter, shout out, brothers in Broderpool, circa 2010. And then Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun to watch. It was too big a part of my football fandom not to put Andrew on my list.
Yeah, I can understand that. But I guess like my fear or my issue with Andrew is just try again, I guess. Like to stop after the last preseason game, it's like, did you already know this and then you could have told them before, or did you just wake up this morning and just like, I'm done? So I guess like if we get an explanation from that, I would be more understanding. But as somebody who grew up in Indianapolis, felt the vibe of the Colts, and we were headed in the right direction. And I get that was the start of the Chris Ballard regime, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was his. He started in 2017, and then Luck retired in 2019.
So yeah, like
so he was hurt Ballard's first year.
Yeah,
played that 2018 season with Frank Reich, and then retired at the beginning of what would have been his third year with Ballard.
See, I feel like that kind of. That halted. I know everybody's not a big fan of Chris Ballard right now, but I mean, when your franchise quarterback just ups and retires, and now I feel like he's been in recovery mode since. It's like that was like a haymaker, and he's still on the ground, still trying to get up. And I know it's been 6 years since, and he's been looking for that quarterback ever since. So I feel like Andrew Luck did so much detriment to the Indianapolis Colts organization that it's hard to put him in my top 5 for that. Because I guess I am from Indy. Sort of a Colts fan from afar, and I want them to succeed, but he just did so much harm, which is unfortunate.
I can't disagree.
Yeah.
I knew there were going to be fireworks on this episode. I knew we were going to get into it. I genuinely went back and forth on that because I really was let down, but I had to remove that fandom emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Because, it definitely sent the entire organization spiraling.
Yeah.
I'm one of those, like, I don't care either way, Ballard, this or that. Like, I'm rooting for the Colts because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I root for the team you're on.
Yeah.
I root for the Browns. D-Bell's there.
Yep.
You know, I always root for Indy guys and especially Warren guys.
Yeah.
So whatever they're going to do what they're going to do, and that's cool. But I can't disagree. You're right. I mean, that's why he remains such a polarizing figure, Andrew Luck. I hope you're going to like my top 2 because it is kind of weird.
Okay.
But that's what this is a personal list. It's not.
For sure.
Because we could always pick the top 5 and, those are the 5 greatest. But all right. Breeze, Lamar, Baker. Who's number 2?
This is a no-brainer right here. Jaden Daniels is my number 2. What an exciting young man.
So much fun.
Yeah, it's like he's one of those guys where you don't know when the big play is going to happen, but you're kind of just like feeling the anticipation. Like I feel like he has people on the edge of their seats every time he has the ball in his hands. And me getting a sideline view of this, like I actually got in trouble this year. We're over on the sideline making adjustments, and I'm over here watching him go to work on the sideline. And everybody's like, "Where's Sheldon? Where's Sheldon?" Coach, I'm over here watching the game. Like, tell me during the timeout or something. So just to see him just be so special with the ball in his hand, is like he can throw, he can run, he makes the right decisions, doesn't turn the ball over, which is incredible for a rookie quarterback. And then he's always doing just enough just to get the first down or get the touchdown or make sure Terry gets open or Diami or anything Zach. It's like he's always in the right position. So it's just like even when we weren't in positions to win, we were like, man, we got this. Jaden's at quarterback. So he has that allure, and now he's moving himself into that upper echelon of quarterbacks, and it's only year 1. So I can't imagine him when now he's getting more weapons. Now he's getting a better O-line. Just to see him transition and keep ascending, I think he's one of those ones where it's like, wow, I played with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I watched it from the very beginning. So that's why he's my number 2.
He seems like just a great dude.
Oh, one of the best. One of the best.
He's 22, 23 or whatever, super young, but just seems like awesome to be around and fun to play with.
Yeah.
The good news is, though, and you were there for it, no matter how much trouble you get on the sideline for not paying attention to adjustments, at least you're not that Bears cornerback that was
oh my God,
talking to the crowd and then is burned for the touchdown at the end.
The crazy thing is, like, going back and replaying it, it's like, why? You're 3 seconds, if that, and like you already get the feeling like I think we were 2-3 at that time or something like that. We wouldn't have a winning record. I think they had a winning record. They had only lost one game, and then it's like you could feel like this was like one of those season altering moments where if we don't get the Hail Mary, we probably wouldn't have been that good. They stopped the Hail Mary. They would have continued on their win streak. Probably would have made the playoffs. Eberflus still have his job. So it's one of those situations where this was a season momentum thing, and whatever team won was going to carry it through the rest of the season. And he was 3 seconds away. Yeah. And then you see the crowd starting to get excited. He runs over there. It's like in football, every DB knows this. You knock it down. No tip. If you can't get both hands on it, box out your receiver, stuff like that. It's like practically impossible to get a Hail Mary now because they coach it up. I think on Fridays we spend at least 20, 25 minutes worried about last plays, Hail Mary, flea flicker, hook and ladder, all of the scenarios that you can go through. And you let those 25 minutes that we go through on a Friday not be, I guess, emphasized is just crazy. I don't know. So that happened, and then it's like, dude, there's no way this guy's on the team on Tuesday. And then found out he's the starting corner for them, and like he's been balling ever since he's been in the league. So it's just like you let that one moment, like I don't know. It's I guess I hear the stories coming from that locker room. Is like Flus didn't have control of the guys. Then he tried to blame him, but it was other stuff in the game that could have happened. So I don't know. It's a weird scenario for that individual.
Well, and you have that prime perspective of it. You know, there are tons of inner workings within an organization that you guys know about it and nobody else does. Yeah. Even the reporters that have access to the locker room and to the practice field. Yeah. They don't know. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's not 100. It's probably not 90. Yeah. They're not privy to all that stuff on the inner workings. But you're at that point in your career now where you might be taking it, you know, maybe 1 year at a time, one off season at a time. Does a player like Jaden make it a little, is that play into the process of, you know what, I think I want to come back because we're building something special here. There's really some potential with what this team can do. Yeah.
So they actually talked about that last year. It's like usually people come in on a 1 year contract and they're the start of the rebuild, and they're not really part of the success of the organization. So coming in last year, being a part of the rebuild, but also reaping the success of it is rare. So when you got a guy like Jaden at quarterback on his rookie deal, you know they're going to pour so many resources into him. It's like, why not be a part of it? At least ride the wave until you can't anymore. And then, like, you know, it's time for him to get paid. Receivers leave. Now he can't sign all those other big-time free agents, but at a point where he's still on his rookie deal, doesn't cost the team much, and they're trying to build, and they know that this window of Super Bowl now has opened, why not join?
While you can.
Yeah. So it does make it easier, and it's like, well, if I go to Washington, like we went to the NFC Championship last year, like we were 3 or 4 players away. They just signed Debo, Laramie Tunsil. They signed a D-tackle. We might be able to do this. So it's always in your mind, especially as an older guy. It's like, do I really want to go bang my body for 18 weeks and not have a chance at the Super Bowl? Probably not, unless they're paying you buttloads of money. So it's like it's money, then opportunity. But now in Washington, it's like opportunity, knowing that if you win a Super Bowl, the money comes after it. So I think people have switched their mindset when it comes to Washington.
That's really cool, man. I love that. I'm nervous now. Okay. I'm going to give you my top 2. Okay. It's been a tumultuous list. Okay. Fitzmagic, Dan Marino, Andrew Luck.
All over.
It's like the random pack of cards you open up like, I don't know, I want that guy. I don't want this guy. My number 2, so much fun watching him. I think he's underrated. It was really sad the way it went, his story, but Steve McNair, Air McNair is my number 2. Yeah. Rival in the division, Tennessee Titans, but so much respect when he won the co-MVP. I think it was 02 or 03, where it was he and Peyton were co-MVP. Yeah. I honestly thought he deserved it to just have it outright, but it's just one of those things where, man, he was built to be this bruising quarterback, just this massive dude. Yeah. Megawatt smile. People loved him. Yep. He was great. You could tell he had fun. And he was just a baller, man. Yeah. When that Super Bowl, in my mind, that Rams Titans Super Bowl might as well have been the first Super Bowl ever. Because at our age, that's the first one, and we've been going since then. Yeah, the Packers, the Niners, that's great. Yeah. 60s, 70s, 80s. But that 99-2000 Super Bowl, and then watching Steve, I think he ended up with the Ravens for a few years. And, but when he was in his prime, man, he could run, he could pass it. You couldn't tackle him. You could bring him down. And again, kind of a sad story there, unfortunately, but still a lot of love for Aaron McNair.
Yeah, I would say him, Donovan McNabb, or like my honorable mentions. It's like those two individuals, like they changed the game of football. I guess Michael Vick, you kind of put him in that era too. It's like the throwing quarterbacks. It's like they dual threat. They can run, they can pass, they can just do enough. And it's like, breaks down protection, spin around. It came back yard football. And like, I think that's why people start to fall in love with the game of football, because you've seen guys like that, like, I'm a black person, I can go be a quarterback in NFL, and it kind of opened up the reign for black individuals to start playing the quarterback position too. For
sure. And, I mean, hell, Alcorn State. Yeah. How many Alcorn State players, no offense, Alcorn State, I don't know your mascot, but small school, a lot of, so to come up that way, taking your licks and, feeling that process the entire way to end up where he did.
Very special.
Very special. Very, very impressive.
Yeah. And I was actually super excited for Steve McNair. He had a player called Wycheck. And we used to play with him on Madden, and we'd be like, Wycheck. Because it's like, I mean, like the guy was crazy on Madden. It's like you threw him the ball, and then he had Derek Mason. So it's like that team, I was just like, if they would have won the Super Bowl, I think it would have changed the trajectory of that entire organization.
I agree. Well, Frank Wycheck, that was the Music City Miracle.
Yeah.
That he was the one. I think it was Derek Mason. Or no, it might have been Kevin Dyson. I can't remember now. Yeah. But anyway, Wycheck was the one who threw the lateral and then up the sideline to beat the Bills.
Yep.
Yeah, just more McNair stuff. I love.
Gotta love McNair.
All right, man. Drew Brees, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels. Definitely a little. I've got some older guys on my list compared to what you have, but that's all right.
You do.
Number one, who do we have?
Now, everybody's going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the quarterback position. Your list doesn't make sense. But my number one is Jameis Winston. I know.
Famous Jameis. Let's talk about it.
Played him in college. He beat me. And I was like, how does this guy beat me? And I feel like we had everything we needed. I think they won the national championship that year. And this guy is just an ultimate competitor. He knows how to win. He's a gunslinger, which I appreciate. Like if you know yourself and you go out there and do what you say you're gonna do, like I'm gonna throw 40 touchdowns. I might have 40 interceptions, but I am going to throw touchdowns. I'm perfectly fine with that. And then he just finds a way to win. Like I don't know. And then to hear about him as a person, a leader, a Christian man, doing things the right way, I want to be his teammate. Like I was like, wherever he goes, I want to go. I just want to see if the hype is real. I want to see if he's really who he is every single day. And to know that if he is your backup quarterback and your starter gets hurt, we're going to war. And like, if the defense gets 3 stops, you got a really good chance to win. But, I mean, you need 3 stops and some stops in the red zone. He might throw a pick 6. Oh, well, like if defense scores on touchdown, get 3 stops, you got a really good chance to win. And I don't know many quarterbacks who go out there, they know who they are, they're going to be a gunslinger, and he knows he's going to make mistakes, but it's going to be so exciting. Like, I would watch him from the sideline, like gladly. Like, Coach, man, James is out here. Like, let's hurry this up. So another exciting player that I feel like has gotten the short end of the stick. Like when he was with Tampa, I feel like they were right there on the cusp, kind of in the same situation they are with Baker. He went to New Orleans, got hurt unfortunately, and then he's just been battling. Like I feel like with the Browns and things like that, didn't get the best opportunity. But I was really hoping the Colts signed him this year. I think he would have helped AR tremendously. I mean, it's still not too late. I know we just signed Daniel Jones, but Jameis Winston in that room, I think, completely changes AR's career, gives him the mentor he needs, the person to deal with the media, deals with up and downs, the know how to be a true pro. So hopefully Chris Ballard's listening to this and you make Jameis an offer and he's your new backup quarterback. So here we go.
I would love that. I think that's a great pick. For those who say you don't know football or you don't know quarterbacks, clearly I think Jameis is, I don't want to say victim, but I think I'll just say it for lack of a better term. I think he's a victim of the generation he's in.
Ooh, that's a great point.
Because if it weren't for all the clickbait headlines, like if it weren't for Twitter, if it weren't for Instagram and some of the goofy some might say cornball stuff that's been captured on camera. You're not on the team with him.
Yep.
You know, you don't realize what that means to a lot of those players. Yep. But had he played in the 90s without cameras and cell phones and all that stuff, you don't hear about all that crap. Yep. You know, and think about, I mean, John Elway might have been this absolute cornball, but we never hear about it because there was no Twitter back in 85.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think he's kind of fallen into a little bit of that. But yeah, a guy that's just going to show up and he is unapologetic about who he is. He's like, you know what? I like having fun. I'm a goofball.
Yeah.
I'm also going to rip it, man. I'm going to throw it a mile. If I throw 30 interceptions, I'm going to throw 50 touchdowns. Exactly. I don't care. I love a guy that is confident in himself, and he's like, you know what, this is who I am, accept it or not. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great pick. Yeah. I don't know that Jameis would have been anybody's guess for who would have been in the top 5 or number 1, but when you explain it out, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the part of that is it's the joy of watching it. Yeah, you play it. There are the NFL historians that wins and losses and this and that.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, no, I agree.
My number 1 for you is the exact opposite.
Oh.
I'm going, this is chalk. Number 1 seed, it's Peyton Manning. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll give you a reason why he's not my number 1, but continue with yours.
Which I'm really excited to hear. Yeah. Sheldon. I was born in 1988.
Okay.
All right. That's old. All right. I first started really watching football his rookie year. Mm-hmm. Then we get Edrin. Mm-hmm. Then we get Reggie Wayne to pair with Marvin, who's been there for a few years. Mm-hmm. And then we had the entire 2000s decade.
Yeah.
Dude, just watching him play, all of the comebacks, the throws, the records broken, he's I can't help it, man. It broke my heart when he went to Denver. Yeah. I get it. I understand. Mm-hmm. But I cannot wait to hear why you're not in on Peyton Manning.
So kid from Indianapolis. Sundays we would go to church. They would let us out of church early, so we would get out at 12:45 so we could be home by 1 to watch Peyton Manning play. We would be at Sunday dinner, which is like at a church friend's house, eating dinner, put the Colts game on. I was tired of the heartbreak. He never I feel like every time I watched him, Jacksonville would beat him. When they had Maurice Jones-Drew, David Garrard, I'm just like, who are these guys? They suck. Why are we losing? And then they would go to the playoffs, and it was like every single year, heartbreak. Oh, this is going to be the year. Heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak. And it was to the point where they turned me into a Colts hater. So when the Saints beat the Colts, excited. Very excited.
I did not know this.
I know. And then they're playing the Bears. This is how much I hate. They are playing the Bears in the Super Bowl, and Devin Hester returns the kick for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling my friends, this is why I'm not a Colts fan. You guys suck. Like, you'll never be anything more than just terrible people, all this other stuff. It was so bad, it turned me into a Baltimore Ravens fan. That's how bad it was. And I was just tired of the heartbreak. And every week, it's just like, you're like, oh, the Colts are going to win. Then they will lose. And then they go to the playoffs. Oh, the Colts are going to win the Super Bowl. They lose. So it's just, the roller coaster is where I think they started my roller coaster journey. It's like I love a team so much, and then they just let you down. You love them so much, they let you down. So it's just like I got tired of the letdown, and he was. I feel like he was the main issue. You're the quarterback. You're supposed to make us win. You have the ball 99% of the time. Do something. So he's the reason why I stopped liking the Colts for a long time, and then Andrew Luck came around, started to like him more because I played Andrew Luck, knew he was a good guy. But Peyton, he broke my heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am so sorry for bringing that up.
All good. That's why he's not in my top 5, though. So, yeah.
I totally get it, though. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that he was able to finally slay the dragon and got that 06 Super Bowl, which now seems forever, a lifetime ago.
It really does.
That was my senior year of high school. So that's a culmination of like 06, 07. Shout out. Was the best time of my life.
Yeah.
Just got my license, got my girl, riding around. All the music that's coming out is the best music I've ever heard. Yep. Colts win the Super Bowl. Like, that feeling what I've been chasing ever since. And it was just fun to watch because I can't stand, one of the things I don't like about watching certain quarterbacks, like the ones that have the records, like a Phillip Rivers, a Matt Ryan, the ones that have stuck around for forever.
Yeah.
When they drop back to pass, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think they're going to miss somebody long or short, or they're going to throw a pick. When Peyton dropped back, he was hitting guys.
Yeah,
he was going to complete the pass. I always faulted either Dungy or Bill Polian because I'm like, could you guys just get some D linemen that can block, can stop the run, and not this speed, quickest to the ball, bend but don't break Tampa 2.
Yeah.
It doesn't work unless you have the exact right players for it. But anyway, you know, right?
Yeah, but I guess they have
professional D lineman for a decade in the NFL. Let me tell you about the Tampa 2.
I feel like they had the linebackers though, so it's like you had the linebackers.
You had Cato June. You had Gary was really good.
David Thornton. You had those guys, so it's like it wasn't the defense's fault. It's like Peyton had their weapons. Like I feel like that was the most well balanced team you could have had. Like you had a decent enough O-line to protect Peyton. You had an all-star running back, 2 all-star receivers, a Hall of Fame tight end, and then you had Peyton Manning. So it's like he's the only one that you could blame. Like you had Bob Sanders at a point in time. You had Dwight Freeney, David Thornton, Larry Brackett. You had all these great players, and it's all through the same Peyton Manning era. And you only get one. That's what I'm saying. You had so many great players, and you have this Hall of Fame quarterback. So now it's like you have to compare him to Brady. Brady doesn't have as near as much, and he wins Super Bowls.
We almost went the whole episode without hearing that damn
We had to. Because now I think that's where my heartbreak started. You know, it's like you see the Patriots beat them every single year.
Yeah.
And it was just like the heartbreak. This is like, what are we doing? So. At least he wasn't in my top 5, though.
I would go into like, well, when did we really find out that they were using cameras? Spygate. That's
water under the bridge.
It's in the past. Sheldon, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Once a warrior, always a warrior, just a kid from the east side. Where can people find you? Tell us about the Players Company. Tell us about all the stuff you got going on.
For sure. So the Players Company is a syndication of athletes where we help people get educated in financial literacy, but also bring them opportunities. I feel like growing up on the east side, you're not awarded all the opportunities out here, whether that's franchising, private equity, venture capital, just becoming resources is kind of our main goal, and we've gotten to the live event space. Last year we did NBA All-Star in Indianapolis. This year we'll be doing WNBA All-Star downtown Indy. So you can find out more about us at SheldonDay_91 or at theplayerscompany.co. So
fantastic, man. Love it. Good luck. Have fun this off season, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Okay.
Sounds good.